Hey everybody, yes, welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, you're looking greater today. You got a new microphone setup, new headphones, new stand. We'll get into it. How's it going?
I'm doing well, Jason.
Do you feel as good as you look today?
Probably feel better than I look, in my opinion. People ask me, as I said before, my favorite thing, Chris, how you doing? And I say, wealthy and extremely handsome is usually my answer. And that usually puts everybody like, what? Like nobody ever says that. So that's how I'm doing. I'd say wealthy and extremely successful and handsome, just all three. But Jason, how are you? Everything well and successful? I mean, as much as you can.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Okay.
Getting by. Chris, I was going to save this for Patreon, but we didn't catch up a lot before the show because you were red-faced and angry at me. We'll get into Patreon why that was. But so I didn't tell you before the show. By the way, your setup looks great.
Oh, thank you.
We don't have to get into the inspiration for your setup where I was inspired from. I don't want to drop names.
Right.
But,
right.
Man, did I give you some good advice?
Oh, yeah.
Because I see you went with what I pointed out.
Oh, yeah. I did several hours of research, and for someone who knows nothing about mics, I got it all figured out. So,
question for you. This nice stand you have, I have just a desk right here with some marble or granite or whatever it is on it, and it's got a curved edge. Could this thing work for this desk?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it depends on how thick that overhang edge is, but yeah, definitely.
About 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
Okay.
Would you what'd you do with your mic? Did you get a new mic just for this setup?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I got a mic that requires it. I don't even understand all of it, but anyway, it's not powered by itself. It has to be powered, so I have to have a audio interface attached to it, but that allows me to have controls over my volume and I can watch my levels and all this stuff. So feeling 255 episodes in, I'm feeling like a professional now, finally.
Well, you look very professional today, so I'm going to have to catch up on this setup.
Okay.
And
yeah, you just have the giant black dookie that you're just talking into on your on your screen.
Can't see the bottom of it. You don't know where it comes from.
Yeah, it's just like a giant black ball in front of your face.
Honestly, it's sad. It's the classic, like, I'm making a living online YouTube kind of creator thing. It's on a router box from an old router, and on top of the router box is a spiral set of instructions for a student manual for Adobe.
Oh,
and I don't work in Adobe at all, so I don't know where that came from. And then a manila folder with some kind of information in it. So
I'd never seen the bottom,
bad, but it is time to drop a couple $100 on a stand. Yeah.
That's hilarious. You've never described what your mic is sitting on. I always just imagined a much cleaner setup, but that's hilarious. That's good to know. Yeah, I think it's time, Jason. Well, let me tell you guys about something that you are well past time on if you have not tried Opteo. You're listening to this show because you either run your own Google Ads for your own business. You're running it because it's a client that you're managing. You're a freelancer or something like that. Or you're working at an agency and you want to up your level. You want to be more valuable to your clients, to your agency, get that next promotion because you bring in the bucks for the agency. I want to tell you, Opteo is the tool for all three. No matter what category you're in, Opteo is there and they can help you optimize your campaigns in a very smart way. As a wise man once told me, Opteo is automated strategies for a manual bidder. So if you are the kind of guy that does not trust automated strategies because you like to make smart decisions about your campaigns in Google Ads, I'll tell you right now, Opteo is the perfect tool for you. It's smart. It enhances your knowledge of Google Ads by giving you the decisions you need to make. It's not automated. It's a optimization tool. So check it out at opteo.com/PSP2. You can get an 8-week free trial. Fill out the form on the bottom right. Use the chat box. and tell them you heard about it on the Paid Search Podcast, and you get an 8-week free trial. opteo.com/PSP2.
Thanks, Chris. And we are 255 episodes into this show, and it continues to grow, and people all around the world from California to Cameroon.
Cameroon. Yep. That's right. That's true.
Where our review came in from last week. Find our show and listen to it. This week's 5-star review of the week on Apple Podcasts comes from Brandon from the United States of America. Don't be scared, homie. 5 stars. Referring to the headline, truly words to live by going deeper into 2021. 2020 definitely scared most of us, but now isn't the time for that. You guys have really helped me grab and understand Google Ads concepts. Jason, you're the man. Chris, you're dope as well.
That's right.
That's the first time in Chris's life he's been called dope.
Yeah, I'm a Schedule.
And it must feel good.
Schedule 1 drug. That's pretty good.
Chris, are you scared yet in 2021, or are you still fearless like me going into 2021 after surviving 2020, which I mean 2020 in general, 2020, the world we all lived in, and then also the Google Ads changes and the advances in AI and machine learning and all that seemed to jump up quite quickly in 2020. So my approach going into the new year was, hey, I'm done being scared. It affected my business results. It affected my mood day to day and all that, and I'm just done with it. So I'm just going to take it minute by minute, prepare for the best and think ahead, but keep my feet on the ground and just attack every day and not be scared anymore. It's worked out. It's been tested. It's been some crazy stuff this year as well. But overall, as we sit here at the end of March, end of Q1, I feel pretty good about that approach to just doing my job and not focusing on fear. Have you continued that attitude with me, or are you a scared little baby?
I'm with you. It is something that can absolutely be terrifying. I hear a lot of people talk about Google and Google Ads and, not knowing what to do. But one thing that I honestly think about this a lot is because when, the lights are off and, I'm sitting in my chair doing my daily grind of Google Ads management, I'm not some guy on a podcast. I'm just a guy trying to make money and take care of my family. And it gets real, things get kind of scary. And what I think is all these changes that are happening, all the automation, the keyword match types, all this stuff is new to everyone. There's no one out there that says, oh yeah, this is what you do. Oh yeah, that huge, massive change that everybody's going through. Oh, I already figured all that out. There is no person that has more experience in these changes than I do because we're all going through it. So I start to get worried and scared, but then I just think, the only way to get through it is to try and test. You can't just sit around and say, oh, this has worked for 5 years. I'll just keep doing the same thing. It's no longer time for that. Things are different. The platform's changing, as it always does.
Well, it's good to hear, Chris. You're a very realistic business person, freelancer, consultant out there.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a good job, but you also it's almost like we're on a bridge in the middle of a jungle, an old abandoned bridge, and if you can get to the other side of the bridge, there's a shipwreck there with treasure on the ship, and you can get to it if you can just survive. But you got to get across this creaky bridge with missing bridge pieces and all that kind of stuff. And we're just getting across the bridge.
I like that. I do. Now
and I'm not looking down. I'm not scared.
You're the king of analogies. I feel like that was a weak one though. We might want to come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was kind of weak. Like, I don't know why is there a shipwreck at the end of a bridge? That doesn't make any sense. And it's in a desert.
Yeah, I didn't feel good about it. No, the jungle.
I mean, I'll give you credit.
How many ears do you have?
I'll give you credit. You usually have incredibly good illustrations and analogies, but that's all right.
Well, Chris, we've got questions today, a Q&A episode. A lot of questions about Google Ads these days, about online marketing. For any questions you have, send them in at paidsearchpodcast.com, and we will collect them and then get to them as we see fit, and we do that from time to time here on the show. So we are going to get into the first question. It comes from Alessandra from Italy. So Alessandra's question is, hi, I recently came across a video on Google Ads lead form extensions. I do not remember hearing about them on your show. I think that's correct. We haven't talked about them much. Do you use them? When are they hard to handle for the business advertising with them? So Chris, this is something kind of on my list that I want to dive into. I haven't done these in a long time. I remember a while ago there was something like this as an extension. I just remember it being low volume. I remember it being quite the hassle to set up, and also even more of a hassle to track. Maybe not a hassle to set up, but definitely a hassle to track with webhooks or whatever. And it's not something I've gotten into, especially lately. That said, Google is often changing things, as we know. An example of that would be the experiments. They made that a lot less clunkier. Now it's an awesome system. And I heard about that from you, and now I do that quite a bit. So lead form extensions, what are they like today? Are you using them at all?
So it's a good question, because it is absolutely dependent upon the industry. In my case, I don't even consider them for clients that have any type of complexity or anything that's going to be, really a requirement for the person to come to the site to understand what they're selling. Okay. So
fair to say that's more B2B than B2C.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's usually more complex. They need more info.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I work with a lot of B2B stuff. And if they're like, let's say in the medical or the scientific arena, or, all kinds of things. Okay. How about this way? If you sell a lot of your stuff using a PO number, you don't want to use this lead form. How about that? That'll speak to a lot of people out there. If you sell things through purchase orders, things like that, it's not a direct consumer buy or a phone call to get someone's.
That's very B2B.
Yeah. I mean, that it's not you. Forget about it. So that's how I think about it. Now, if you're if you sell something simple, direct to consumer, where they can request a service, request a quote type of thing, absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. And they are easy to set up and use. And what I like is that tracking is actually, all integrated in and easy to use. And last, it adds what everybody wants, more visibility on Google, right? Why do you want ad extensions? You want ad extensions because it makes your ad
juice your quality score.
Yeah, quality score, but also makes your ad more visible. It adds more ways for people to interact, more data, more visibility. So for those reasons, it's great for some people, not everyone though.
What is the volume low on those? Like if you're running for a B2C get a quote thing, do you get a lot of action from there, or is it kind of just, hey, when's the last time you checked the action on your call outs?
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, if you are the kind of client that sells a service, most people are going to want to call you. That's just the way it goes. I mean, your movers that you work with, plumbers that you work with, Jason, AC people that you work with. I mean, let me guess. Number one lead source is a phone call, either direct from the ad or direct from the website. People, if they have an issue with a home service or any kind of thing where they need to talk to someone about their car or whatever, people call. That's what they do. So I don't think lead forms they have a small area that I think they fit in, and it's certainly not everyone.
Yeah. And, I've been doing some work around the house lately, working with people in the service industry. I don't fill out forms on a Google.
You don't know who's going to call. Yeah.
Search. Yeah, like
who's going to call you back?
I research people. I call them. It's just, I mean, maybe it works for like a very commoditized service, like maybe moving a car across the country or something like that. And another thing, I don't see them a lot when I do searches. Like I just search for movers in my area, and I don't see these lead form extensions a lot. So they've kind of just been not on my radar. This is a good kind of heads up from Alessandra, like, hey, check those out. Maybe they're more useful these days, or maybe they're shown more. So maybe that's something we'll dive into, an extension kind of deep dive and refresher. But just to be frank, no, I haven't been using them, and I probably should try them out here going forward. Okay, Chris, this next question comes from George from Greece. Hello, heavyweight champions. That's what he said. No, of PPC. Heavyweight
yeah, there we go. There
PPC. We go. What did we say one day? Combined, we were pushing 500. Combined, we were pushing 400.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Probably.
I have no idea how much you weigh.
I'll tell you in
Hold on.
Patreon.
If I'm within
no.
10,
you have to. It's going to have to be behind that. I can't have it out in public.
You need a little privacy.
Yeah, it has
for
to
that.
be behind a paywall.
Only among friends.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll guess it. Let me. This is very serious business. Let me make a note there because
you're going to
curious.
You're going to write down a guess.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. Spell weight.
You're a jerk.
I want to know what your weight is. You just asked me how to say it in a sentence. I guess that's what you mean by your jerk. Spell weight.
No, I don't. Jay, I'm never going to spell again.
Chris, that's an easy one. We're all impressed when you spelled something one time. That's an easy one. Go ahead. No. And by the way, you can pull this on me anytime too. No, but
that's because okay, fine.
You can't verify.
Let's do a push-up contest then. I'll spell something. Let's do a push-up contest. Right after.
Do you really think you can do more push-ups than me?
Are you kidding me?
You really think that?
I will drive to your house and we will film us. Absolutely. No, but that's not important. Let's read George's question.
I guarantee you I beat you on that. Look what you started, George. Little friendly competition. Okay, hello, heavyweight champions of PPC. Big fan here from Greece. I have a question about builds and systems. I loved the Lazy Man build, and I was laughing because everything with all the changes, they're kind of going in the direction of Lazy Man build. Like, forget the match types. Just
don't
throw
worry
in a keyword.
about it. Now,
forget this keyword showing up on things. We'll show it up on everything.
We'll do what we want. Okay, it's lazy.
I love the Lazy Man build, and I was wondering if there is something similar for e-commerce where you have hundreds or even thousands of products and product categories. Chris, the question is, does the Lazy Man build system that you shared with the world apply to e-commerce? Is there a way to do Lazy Man in e-commerce?
Okay. So great question, George. To answer this, hopefully you did not mean, the whole data feed. There's a preliminary, preload to setting up a shopping campaign that requires that you have your data feed set up. So my answer is not going to be in that. Hopefully you have all that figured out. You have the right software. You've done it. A lot of that's automated anyway. Getting all your merchant stuff together. Okay, you've done that. Now, if you're getting all of your data feed into a shopping campaign, the answer, and I'll give you, I'll give you as much as I can, but the real answer is actually, I just did a video last week on our super patron level where I demoed this exact thing, where I talk about the easy way to set up a bidding strategy to layer your shopping campaign in a way that makes it very easy to look at, review, change bids, modify, and adjust things. Very simple approach, very much in Lazy Man type of way. And I can't give all the details, but if you want, if you're not a super patron, join there. You'll see all the videos. All the videos are live. All the, I think close to 40 videos that I've done so far this year are all live on there. But I'll tell you this, the secret is in product groups. That is where you're going to find it. You can choose product groups, and the rest is, it's hard to explain over audio, but essentially, look to product groups. That's where your Lazy Man build is going to come from.
Okay, Chris. Product groups. I'm going to remember you said that.
Sorry, I was going to ask. I mean, has it been a week? I think it's been a week since we did shopping. Jason, have you ventured at all into the shopping arena? Because I'm curious. I tried to demystify it for you, and you seemed intrigued.
No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to, because whether it's with like investing or business or really anything, I'm just finding when I apply myself to things that I'm interested in or have a natural inclination for, I do a lot better. And when it comes to Google Ads, now I'm almost a decade into this. All I've been doing for a decade is search campaigns for service companies primarily. with remarketing and some YouTube, but search campaigns for service companies and getting them calls and getting them lead forms filled out. How can I just go into the shopping world, which just doesn't even interest me, like as a consumer? Like I don't know. I just don't do a lot of like online shopping like that, and
Yeah.
I do like service searches for my own life. Like I was just saying, I had some work done around the house. I know that world. I think about that world every day. That's who I talk to every day on the phone. Those kind of clients. And it's just not something that's it's not in my wheelhouse. And if Google Ads was only e-commerce, and that's what Google Ads had maybe evolved to over time, and people didn't search for services in Google, they just searched for products, I might not even probably wouldn't even be in this job right now. So I've got to steer clear of it. I just have to have the discipline to go where I'm skilled at and where I'm interested in.
You're right. I mean, if it was e-commerce, that would preclude a lot of people from getting involved, because the e-commerce aspect immediately forces you to be involved with web development and a lot of coding stuff and data feeds and things like that. And that's a different skill set. So I agree. That's a good point. Service industry does not require a lot of that.
And it's just a natural inclination. Like if I hear about some consulting group and they helped a company figure out how to make a stock offering and sell part of the company so they can fund this new operation, they hired these consultants, I'd be like naturally interested in like, okay, what did their proposal look like? How do they charge for that? How did they get more business from that? I'm just interested. But if someone tells me like, oh, hey, we created this new product and now we're managing our inventory in our warehouse and we've got a new SKU system or whatever,
right.
Like I'm watching Shark Tank, and it's just not for me. It's just not an area of the world or economy that I'm interested in. So,
by the way, this is another hook to get people to join Patreon, at least on the cheap $2 level. You mentioned Shark Tank. I'm going to talk about Shark Tank in Patreon. I'm having my second client show up on Shark Tank this coming month. I've had one already, another one's coming, and I want to share some insights that I've had. If you are, this is a really rare person I'm talking to, but if you are, you're going to be working on an account that's going to be having Shark Tank, an episode, you're going to be on Shark Tank. Let me talk about like what to do with your campaign. I've just spoke to 1 out of 1 million people, but I have some advice.
Wow, look at the big hotshot. He got a new mic stand and a haircut, and all of a sudden he's talking about global TV shows and big hot stuff today, Chris. So, Chris, this next question comes from Sam, and Sam has a question about advertising when you have one specific type of client. So in this case, they sell a product to local governments. And so the question is, it's like, and I think this can apply to a lot of different advertisers. So whether you're selling to like local governments, I've worked with clients who sell to school districts, or if you sell to certain types of businesses, but not all the businesses in that field, the general question is, when you're advertising for a specific customer type, and there would be other people from other types of customer bases doing those searches. So in this case, someone wants to advertise to local governments, but say people are searching for this product both when they work for a local government and represent a local government, but also when they work for tons of different private businesses who this company doesn't work for. How do you advertise when you're just trying to get in one segment of people searching for this product or service? So I'll throw it to you from here, but I've got a lot of thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a jump. We like to shake the boat a bit on this podcast and make solid declarations. Oh, boy.
Hold on. Let me just say from the bottom of my heart, Chris, I am sorry for asking you to spell anything in public after hearing you try to pronounce declarations.
Declarations.
I shouldn't have gone there.
Declarations.
It wasn't right.
There we go. Thank you.
I see that it's not a game.
I
see that
it hurts.
This has had real world consequences for you. This lack of grammar. And you're doing great with what you got, buddy.
I'm trying.
Do you see the way I just pumped you up last question with the Shark Tank thing and the mic stand? And Then I just brought you back down.
That's fine.
Yeah, sorry about
that. That's fine. Keep me where I belong, Jason. So anyway, moving on. I'm going to say that what you described, Sam, is absolutely the hardest type of campaign that I have ever come across. And I'll give you one example. Jason, I'm going to say, build a campaign for someone who does window washing, window cleaning, stuff like that. You say, okay, great. You're probably already visualizing it. You know how it's going to work, what kind of keywords, phrase match. Now I'm going to say, Jason, build a campaign. I don't want any homeowners to click on it. I only want businesses to click on it. And now you're like, oh, crap. The complexity of that just shot sky high because you're going to get homeowners searching. You just lost the number one keyword. You just lost window cleaners near me or window cleaners, just exact match. If the client is going to complain about homeowners calling and the whole website is business, you can no longer run on these things that do not have any type of designation of what they want this product or service for. So you immediately have to go into secondary requirements on that keyword where you have to say window washers for businesses or window washers for retailers, window washers for commercial, stuff like that. And immediately your search volume goes down, your cost per click goes up, your conversion rate is hopefully going to go up, but that's if you can get people to click on it, because there's going to be a lot of other ones that are going to have lower prices because they're advertising to homeowners too. And they're going to have lower prices on there, and it's going to look like they want to call them instead, but it's not as good.
Yeah, but in that case with for businesses, at least people are doing some commercial window washing services, window washers for businesses. At least they're doing some searches. Say you offer a payroll software, but you only do it for government agencies. The person who represents that government agency looking to procure.
Oh, wow.
I think that's how they say buy in government talk. A payroll software, they're not going to search payroll softwares for local government agencies.
No, they're not.
They're never. So they're only going to search payroll software. So Chris, whether it's for government or trying to get in front of only commercial or aspects of commercial, what do? Do you focus on the keywords? Do you focus on matching audiences and doing targeted audiences so it locks it down? Do you give up? Do you just go wide and look at the data?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do?
Well, I mean, honestly, everything you said is what I would do, because when I start a campaign, I don't know what's going to work. I don't ever bury myself into one thing. I'm going to try broad. I'm going to try targeted audiences. I'm going to try phrase match. I'm going to try, everything under the sun, because this, like I said, this is one of the hardest campaigns to do, is when they give you an industry and then say, here's a subcategory of that industry. 90% of the search is this one category I don't want. I want you to target that 10%. It's awful. It's super hard. And yeah, you got to throw everything at the wall.
So we're talking. So what I'm the same way, Chris, but I definitely open my mind to a lot of different options, both wide and narrow. Those are the two words I'm thinking of, wide and narrow. So wide would be like, okay, there's a company called Geico, Government Employee Insurance Company, Geico. They sell car insurance and home insurance and whatever to everybody now. But that when they started out, their thing was, we only sell insurance to government employees. That's what they did like in the 50s and 60s, because they knew government employees had stable jobs and all that. So my point is, I don't think when they started, I don't think they didn't advertise. I think they advertised and just said, hey, we're Geico. We work, we help government employees with their insurance needs. We're going to send this out to everybody. If you're a government employee, call us. And just like with the drug companies today, you watch a sports event, a game on TV, a ball game, and millions of people are watching it, and then they show an ad for people that have like an inflamed left little toe or something, and they're like, if you have an inflamed little left toe, talk to your doctor about blah 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 blah. Right. And you always wonder, like, man, how many people actually have an inflamed little left toe right now that are watching this game? Why would they advertise here? Well, this is an example. They don't have anywhere else to advertise. Like, no one, like the amount of people searching for an inflamed little left toe, maybe they're searching for that, but they've got that locked down. They want more business, and they found it's been profitable for them to go wide.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're going to go as wide as possible. literally everybody on TV watching a game. And we know that if we spend this amount to get in front of them, if just a fraction of a percent end up using us because they saw us there, it's still profitable. So the point is, with broad keywords, with regular keywords, window washers, window cleaning near me, even if you're only offering that for business, go wide, still try that search, because maybe you actually will get conversions from it. Maybe your conversion rate will be 1%. Maybe your close rate will be 0.25%, because some of those leads will be bad. But if you just control what you pay for it and make it profitable, you can do that. So you can go wide. But then on the narrow side, you can also try going narrow. You can try it with your keywords. If you don't think people are searching for like payroll companies, payroll software for governments, well, then you can try it with your audiences. You can try a remarketing list on search and try to loosen up the keywords. I think with the audiences and running targeted audiences on these keywords, Chris, you can try to reverse engineer who a government employee, a government search would be done from that audience. It's going to be hard, but guess what? The person searching for payroll software for governments, for government, searching the keyword payroll software, they're probably not going to be 18 to 24. So you can get rid of that, so you can just start backtracking and figuring it out. One thing I've done in the past, which didn't work, and I'm going to ask you if you would ever do this. Someone wanted to target school agencies, school districts. And so we did 1 mile radiuses as small as you can go around the school district buildings in all these different states.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Searching for regular keywords from those one. Of course it didn't work, but that's one option. I don't think I would ever go. That's the one thing I probably wouldn't do, is trying to geofence or whatever people say and try to get someone inside that building or whatever. But other than that, I'd be focused on audiences, the kinds of keywords, and hey, Chris, sometimes it just doesn't work great. Maybe it's too narrow. Maybe that means you need to adjust your sales strategy and go directly to those people instead of relying on these small needle and haystack people to find you. But the one thing I would say that clients don't understand when I talk to them, and new advertisers, just because you have a narrow subset of people you want to show your ad to, it doesn't mean that regular keywords will fail. You have to give them a shot. You have to give a shot going wide, and just focus on your cost per conversion and focus on your bids. And sometimes that still works, even if you have to filter through a lot of bad clicks and bad leads. You just control for that with your cost per click bid.
Yeah. I tell you, the worst nightmare is if that same window washer company, and you started getting lots of qualified conversions from window cleaners near me. That's a nightmare situation now, because now you have to advertise on that keyword, and you are totally at the whim of whoever happens to search for that, and there's no way to filter out. When
do you forget you're the great Chris Schaefer here, Chris? Did you forget everything you've taught us over the years? Ask your advertiser, how many of these crap leads do we have to filter through to actually get profitable, a commercial B2B lead? And then we know, okay, it takes us 50
there
leads to get a commercial advertiser. But hey, when we get one, a commercial searcher, when we get one, it's worth this much revenue. So what is it? So if we get $10,000 of revenue, we know that our cost per conversion times the number of leads it takes to actually get one has to be about a third of that. So we get a ROAS of at least 3, and you can let the data guide you. So there you go, Chris. I would not call it hopeless. It just takes some real thinking through to apply that ROAS. But it is frustrating probably for the advertiser for their phone to ring 49 times and then for only one of those, the 50th one, to be good. And here's the thing, a lot of other advertisers don't understand, that someone like myself, given some things I've learned in my life, understand variance. Just because it takes you 1 out of 50 leads to actually get a commercial customer, that doesn't mean it's going to be 49 leads, and then on the 50th one you get what you're looking for. Another 49 leads, and then on the 50th one you get what you're looking for. When you get 1 out of 50 because of variance and because of data and statistics, you could go 400 leads, 500 without getting one, and then one day you could have 3 in a row. And it's hard for a lot of people to understand and deal with that variance.
Deal with that. They can understand it. They can't deal with it. They freak out. They're like, last week was amazing. Do that again. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't.
Why has the last 3 months been horrible? Yeah. No leads. Well, because we're looking for 1 out of every 50 leads. No sales. We only get a sale on 1 out of every 50 leads. So if you're getting 50 leads a month, we could go a few months without getting anything.
One thing, because of what Google has done with a lot of the automated stuff that they've been pushing, one effect that I've seen is a lot of people start to think that Google has more to do with their campaign success than what they actually do. Because now, if you're on the user side of Google Ads, you're the one paying the invoice. You get these emails now, if you're running a fully automated campaign and you get these recommendation and optimization emails from them, it gets into people's minds. They'll get emails that say, hey, it looks like things are trending up. Why don't you throw some more budget at the account? Spend more because things are going really well. People start to internalize that and they start to think, well, are you doing that? Because it's to your advantage that I spend more. So they start to think that they share the love across multiple advertisers. They start internalizing these things and start thinking that Google's playing some kind of game where get this guy to spend more, play him against this guy over here, and they're distributing leads kind of based on who's paying more. That's absolutely not the way that things work, but it's the way that people are perceiving it because of these recommendations. They're being pushed through emails and stuff like that. I've noticed it a lot more with my clients that ask me flat out, does Google kind of pay out things to people, pay out, leads based on how much they're spending? If I spend more, will I get more leads because Google will put my ad there more? So they're willing to show me more. So I get more leads. I was like, no, that's not it. It's a whole psychological thing that I've noticed. It has nothing to do with the Q&A. I just noticed that.
I might spend 3 hours a day studying persuasion and trying to learn that as a skill set and become a master persuader, or I might know nothing about it. I don't really know. But I know that if you want to learn about persuasion, you should look at what Google does with their accounts and the notifications and the alerts and the emails. It is among the best on planet Earth, but I don't know anything about it. So, Chris, next question comes from Felix. It was a question. They sent us a Patreon message, and we appreciate that. So,
before we jump into Felix's question, I want to remind you guys to go to optio.com/PSP2.
I feel so teased. I'm ready to go.
I know, Felix is hot and ready. I know, but first you need to get your campaign warm and firing shots every day. Boom, 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 boom. It's sending you leads like crazy because Optio is the tool that we recommend. If you don't remember, the URL is opteo.com/PSP2. This is the tool that we recommend, and we recommend it because it's smart. It's smart like our listeners. It's smart like you. It's smart like Jason. It makes decisions in the way that you need to make decisions, not just push it and forget it. It helps you with a prioritized, categorized list of changes that you need to make to improve the performance of your Google Ads account. Try them out for free for 8 weeks. You're going to like it.
All right, Chris, let's get back into Felix's question here. Basically, he's dealing with some very tough competition. He says this competition has very high bids, so they're getting more and more impression share. His bids are very high. He's getting absolute top impression share, 80% or more. For me, it's not profitable to increase my bids and play the game with him. He's talking about his competitor. Is there something I can do? I hope you have some helpful tips for me. Chris, this is something I know a lot about. Intense competition, number one spots, all that kind of stuff, impression shares. And I want to break down Felix's question because listen to what he said. He said his bids are very high, talking about his competition. He said he's getting absolute top impression share of 80% and more. One thing I've experienced in my career is when you think you have extremely intense competition, sometimes you do. Sure, I'm sure it happens. Sometimes someone's spending just as much as you and bidding just as much as you or more. But sometimes you can fool yourself, and sometimes your concern and your anxiety and worry about a competitor hurting your campaign and taking market share from you can plant basically ideas in your head. A hilarious thing on Patreon, Chris.
Okay.
Had a fight with the wife. We talked it out.
Nice.
Talking about planning things in your head. I got to make a note
man,
here.
that's
A
good.
big one.
I'm excited for that one.
This was so funny. You're going to get a kick out of this. And everything ended well. And it's hilarious why it ended well. So, but you get to start thinking things, and it comes from a place of concern. I have this with my own clients. Clients are very concerned about their performance. They put a lot of pressure on me. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me get worried because you do searches in Google, you do preview tool searches, you think other people are outgaming you, you think they're bidding more. Hey, sometimes it happens, but sometimes you look at that search auctions insights report or whatever it's called, and you look at what your competitors are doing. They really were getting an 80% impression share or really were above you all the time. That's what you see when you do searches. Then why does it say they're above you 15% of the time and they only show up on 10% of searches? So I'm not saying that's happening in this case, but I'm saying that's happened to me a lot, where you think there's this big boogeyman advertiser, and for whatever reason, what you see is not what's actually happening according to the auctions insight. So with that said, Chris, let's say you have ruled that out and you really do think someone's bidding more than you, has a bigger budget than you. How do you compete with someone that's kind of outgunning you in those regards?
Jason, you handed it over to me on the shopping very humbly. And I have to say, I think I'm going to just hand it back to you on this one because
No.
I don't know that I have a solid
you have to
answer.
Understand, no, but that's the answer. That's the answer. You just gave the answer. You don't think about bullshit like this.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
No, Chris, you don't deal with stuff like this. And the reason I say that is because I get this from clients. I get this from advertisers. If they would worry about their bank accounts and their marriages like they worry about their competitors, they'd be in a lot better spot in life. Like, all they think about is their competition. And I've talked to so many people that have not started advertising on Google yet because they're worried that they can't compete with some big brand name. So this is why you don't think about this, because it's stupid to think that way, because we know
it's a big world.
It's a big world. There's a lot of searches. Guess what? Guess what the number one ad doesn't get? They don't get all the searches.
Right. That's right.
I mean, all the clicks. They don't get all the clicks. Like, they don't get them.
We know that 2%. They get 4%. That's all they get.
4%, maybe 8%, like in a great click-through rate. But like on average, number one spot's probably getting 5 to 8%. Mm-hmm, that's it. Mm-hmm. So that means there's another 92 to 95 searches out of 100 that you have a chance to get your share of. And so who cares what they're doing? I guess this is hard for people to deal with because it's such a cutthroat, competitive business environment in a lot of industries, especially like local businesses. Like, someone opens a dry cleaner, been there for 20 years. Now their kids are kind of running it. Their kids don't have that work ethic like they do. The customer service is going down. And then some huge public company, dry cleaning company, moves next door. They've got the app going. They've got the notifications. They've got the customer service, the text alerts. And they steal all your business, and you're out of business and can't pay your rent. But in this world where there's a lot of searches, it's not that competitive. Like, you can show up number 2, number 3, number 4. Maybe you won't get as much as you like. You can still get something. You can still get the ball rolling. This is our biggest thing, Chris. If you're advertising on Google and you're making that the reason why your business exists, give them a beep, even though I'm not going to say anything.
Beep.
You're beeped, you're just beeped. You're done. Like, you may not know it, but you're done because stuff changes so much, because someone can come in and spend way more than you and someone can come in and they can make things unprofitable for everybody. They can go, you know what? I'm doing number one. I'm going to bid 10 times more than everyone else. I don't care if I lose money. They can do that. And then you won't get the volume you're used to. So that's why you don't want to rely for 100% of the reason you're in business for being on Google. You want to be diversified in your traffic sources. But if you are diversified, or here's another one with these new clients, Chris. Hey, you're not getting any business from Google right now. So don't worry about not getting enough because someone's advertising a lot. Just get started and let's get something. Let's get some data. Am I hitting? Do you get what I'm saying here, Chris? Why you want to think about this? Because this is not how it doesn't affect us. We focus on the data and we don't care what's out there. We don't care what we see. We know that if we can get you this cost per conversion, then we'll get it and you're making money. And if you want to get more, we'll check our search impression share numbers. And if we can't get you more, we'll explain to you why and we'll try to make some adjustments. But what other people do does not, it affects me, but I don't let it affect my management because it just is. I can't control it. So I have to just affect what I can control. Am I speaking your language? Does it make sense to someone like you in a similar position to me?
You're exactly right. You're right. Because I kept drawing a blank and I was like, well, I don't really know, but I didn't have my client communication hat on, which is essentially what you immediately put that hat on and started thinking, stop it. Stop thinking about that. Let's focus on the goal and not the problem. And you're exactly right. Exactly right. They're right there in front, but hey, they're taking that super high CPC and breaking all of those super high CPC barriers for you. You can take number 2 and grab that other 4% that they're missing out on.
And dude, if people are losing money on Google search because they hired some dumb agency and the agency doesn't know what they're doing and they put on automated bids and the bids are going through the roof and, oh, that advertiser really liked the volume in the first month, but oh, wow, then they got their credit card bill.
Right.
And now they're like, wait, why is this so high? Things kind of come down to a profitable level for everybody involved.
The market evens itself out. Yeah, there's consequences.
It sorts itself out. The invisible hand, like it actually does do some work here because I've been through so many situations where 1 month goes by or a few months go by of a market changing, a search market in a city changing because someone either wants to try something out or they hired someone who doesn't know what they're doing or a little birdie's in their ear persuading them to do things that aren't good for their bottom line. And they do that for a few months. And then guess what? Money matters, profits matter, and usually things come back down to earth. So my advice for Felix would be forget the competition. Focus on your own metrics, focus on your own data. And if they're doing something that's way more aggressive than you in terms of bidding and cost, there's either one of two solutions. Either A, they're not profitable at this level and they will have to come down eventually. And when they come down, you'll be the beneficiary of it because sometimes they stop advertising on Google because sometimes they're like, oh, this doesn't work. And they get off of there because they weren't running it right. And then you get all that market at a lower cost. Or 2, they're doing something in business better than you if they're able to make money at that higher bidding level. And the way you would know that is if it just goes on longer and longer and longer and they never kind of come back down to earth with their bidding and having to be profitable on Google. So that's what we'll share on that. We appreciate your questions, paidsearchpodcast.com. We appreciate your reviews and sharing the show. Right now, we're going to jump into Patreon and for everyone that's new to Patreon or hasn't been on there yet, I highly encourage you to try it out. If not for just Chris's disgustingly bad intros.
That's true.
Which we'll get into right now.
Let's go.